All right, so we're going to take a quick look at the rest of October because I think I just did the eclipse that passed. What was it, on the 6th or the 7th? Okay, now we're going to take a look at the rest of October and see what we got. I'm currently on the road. I'm always moving around, so I am in my camper van. All right, let's get the screen share up. See what we got going on here. Okay, gonna go here. All right. Well, we got quite a lot of things going on. We're going to focus on uh, riding up into the new moon on October 21st. But as always, I like to look at what is happening on the new moon, because that's always like emphasis on these readings. All right, so okay, I see a few things, a couple grand trines, quite a few grand trines, and a big old mystic square. So let's focus on this one here. Let me get my chart here. You can see here. Let's get this up here. Okay. Yeah, we have a nice one here. We're going to have a look at that. But before we go ahead, it's always important to point out what are the placements for this new moon? So Virgo. We have a new moon in Virgo. And like I always say, I have no idea what tropical is saying, and I really don't care. So, new moon Virgo. Um, that's what we have going on. I spotted this grand trine and I thought it was interesting because you have Mars conjunct Mercury, trine on Jupiter and Gemini, and Mars, Mercury, and Libra. We'll look at that. Coming down to Saturn conjunct Neptune. And it also, as you can see, this trine, because of degrees of orb, it brings in this north node as well. So, as always, this on every report that I do, I'm just labeling this as spiritual maturity. Reach the level of understanding the structure of spirit. So I always just write spiritual maturity because it's reached the level of understanding that, like Saturn understands that spirit is in motion, even though it can't see it or measure it. Because Saturn is the practical. It likes to see. It likes to measure. It likes to know things. And it's in Pisces, which is like kind of fluid. Then conjunct Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces, which makes it more fluid. But when these two come together, it's like the wise mystic that says, okay, I respect the flow of spirit. I understand that spirit is beyond my control. So that's usually a good thing. Then it comes and it trines on this tight conjunction between Mars and Mercury in Libra. That to me sounds like Mercury is the messenger of truth in Libra, the messenger of fairness. Mars is taking action, but it can also be a level of what they call like chivalry, like the masculine taking charge of creating fairness or an action towards seeing the light. And then Jupiter, I found it interesting, Jupiter and Gemini. So Gemini likes to explore the two sides, the two realities. And Jupiter is about like abundance, and it's also fairness too. It's like a caring, but it's a roy. It's like entitled but confident, but caring and protective. So it's another level of like a kind of chivalry energy. So what I wrote here, if I look at my notes, I do all my little notes. It's a good formula for, okay, for another point of view. Yeah, so it's a good formula for for seeing another point of view, because you have spiritual maturity, which is like, okay, something bigger is going on here. Then you have Mars and Mercury, which is like, wait, someone's coming in. Okay. Mars and Mercury, which is like, okay, what are we sharing here? What are we trying to figure out to be clear and honest? Hey, Frederica. Frederica's on the Zoom. A lot of people are on the Facebook, but she's on the Zoom. Yeah. Um, all right. So we have, yeah, Mars, Mercury, which is again like how can we take action to be in balance, like a from a Mars point of view, chivalry. And then it comes up here, which is Jupiter, which is also another different point of view, because Gemini likes to kind of see the other side of things. It explores the other side. So that's the grand trine that's supporting here. Then, of course, we have the North Node in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So next grand trine, we want to look at that. All along, we have the new moon in Virgo. So we have this supreme primordial mother matriarch kind of new moon energy, saying new beginning, creation. All right, so that's one thing we have to look at. All right, let's erase that. So then what what I saw was, okay, that North Node in Aquarius, it's ruled by Uranus. Uranus is conjunct the Pleiades. Find it interesting, 7-7, because we're dealing with Moon Saturn matrix numbers of 7. So this is about, I think this is like a reality check too. But Uranus and Pleiades, of course, is like starseed awakening energy. But you can see here it's hitting Pluto in Capricorn, which we saw Capricorn is in ruled by Saturn, is in Aquarius, conjunct this North Node. So there's something happening here. And then it's trying on Venus. I know it's hard to see with all these lines, but then it comes down here. And what you do, if you guys are studying students, you can go to the Venus line. You can see it's trine on Uranus, which is what we identified. And then we can see it's trine on Pluto, which is what we got. Okay. So up here, boom, and then Venus. Right. And then you can see Venus, yeah, trines on Uranus. So it's a grand trine. That's how you can see. It's almost like a Merkaba, but it's, again, this is from our point of view. This is a chart from the East Coast, New York. But I mean, you do have like a Merkaba. So you can see these two energies are working together. You can float with that for a little bit, but if you're in another time zone, could change this Merkaba. But I mean, we do have a Merkaba, which is a star seed, which you have. This is literally awakening to star seed energy. And then what do I have written here? I didn't think I wrote anything. I just wanted to flow with this one because I was also kind of wondering what could this mean. Because you have awakening energy, then Venus in Virgo, which is, of course, like primordial mother energy, feminine, the goddess, mother, Mary energy here, the creator, new moon, comes down to Pluto and Capricorn, breaking down old structures. So it's possible while this chivalry energy is happening, this spiritual maturity of understanding the other side, the feminine is kind of having an awakening. So it could create a good formula for supporting an awakening and having a warrior stance or understanding like action or like the spiritual maturity is spirit works in different ways, respect others' relationship or how others work in spirit. Maybe that's something that this whole Merkaba is bringing up. Just everyone has their way of what, that we're all trying to just do good. That's the Libra energy. And we have, yeah, so maybe that's something that's an openness that we can see. All right. we can look at. Let's see what else. I saw a big mystic square. I want to take a look at that. So we got that trine. We got that trine. Oh yeah, I want to look at this real quick before we move on. Moon Venus trine, but then I want to look at that mystic square. Okay, so we come up here. What was I looking at? Let me just double check my notes. Yeah, what is that? Okay, we have, no, that's not, 1 second. What did I write? Oh no, that was that trine that we just went over. Moon, yeah, that must have been a mistake I made. Hang on. Sometimes I write really fast. Oh, it was Lilith. Lilith, that's what it was. So Lilith, which earlier this year we saw it was conjunct with Pluto. So it was a lot of hidden energy or breaking down of the suppressed voices of the feminine. And now it's separating, so we have a little bit of kind of ease, but it is in Capricorn, which we might be looking at a restructuring. But this is what I noticed this here. It was trine. So Lilith trines on Venus and the new moon. It's, let's see, approaching 1 degree. Yeah, it's more separated from the new moon, but it's kind of more with Venus. And it's separating from this new moon. You can see here 8 degrees separating here. So it's the focus is more on the Venus, which is, I think it's in a good sign of Virgo. From our point of view, it's rising when the full moon goes exact on October 21st. So we have that there. And I just really, it's just a good sign. I don't have it. I just really, that's just a good sign to see. That's something nice to observe, like Lilith and Pluto having a trine with the new moon and Virgo. So it's very feminine. And then there's a restructuring that's possibly happening there because it's in Capricorn. Or there's like a form taking place. So there's like a new system might be in place, a new understanding of, of the way it should be. Okay, so we got that. Now, the next thing we want to look at is this mystic square. Let me see what did it hit here. Okay, moon. Yeah, this was a reality check. I call it the damage report. All right, so we have it. It's kind of coming up here. Mystic squares, two T squares. It's hitting this Pluto. And like I said, it's really, this chart is really, has a lot of lines going on, but you can look here. You can see the Pluto's hitting the moon. You can see sun, moon, new moon's hitting Jupiter. And then you can see a Chiron hit, a Chiron opposing the new moon, and then hitting square Jupiter, square Pluto. So all these are in contact. And if you look at it, if you scan out, you take a look at what's going on. I can see, Jupiter, we saw what the Grand Trines was doing a good thing, kind of like standing up for seeing, supporting the other way of working. Then the new moon, let me just double check if it's not hitting Venus. Yeah, and then the new moon in Virgo, but then Chiron in Pisces, the wounded healing energy of our times. So a lot of us have this collective Piscean wound, which is pretty much the wounded warrior priest or priestess from the past. So a lot of people, especially in the esoteric arts like us, have visions of being like killed or something like that from being some type of advanced spiritual priestess, priest. So that's kind of there. And then Pluto, you can look at Pluto at two ways and because we have this Libra thing. So Pluto could be the destruction of the creation, especially Virgo is the ultimate in creation through chaos. So Pluto will create. So on a good note, Pluto could be in the hard work of recreating again, based on all this other energy we saw at the trines, which is showing us a new way is being understood. But still, Chiron will bring up the wounds. It will bring up what happened in the past. So what I wrote here was damage report. What happened? Like how bad was it? What was destroyed? What needs to be done? And so you would have to look out for being triggered on the wounds and realize that the wounds open up your eyes to see what needs to be fixed or healed. And then Pluto is like in Capricorn, of course, it will break down an old structure. It will destroy it. And that's what it does. And it wants to rebuild. With the support of Uranus, with that grand trine that we saw, Pluto, Uranus grand trine with Venus, you see how that square hits over here with Venus, but then we have this grand trine with Uranus. This is the focus, is to awaken to a higher cosmic situation. And if you notice, it's opposing the Uranus awakening is opposing the Mars Mercury. So we can look at that as like maybe trying to balance. It only shows opposing Mercury, it doesn't show Mars, but we know it's only 1 degree apart. So we kind of should include that as both. So that's that. Um, I think that's all I saw with that. Let's see who's on the call. Frederica, yeah, you see anything else? Did you see anything you want to add?
Hey,
What's happening?
no, I'm really listening, and I haven't looked at it at all. I'm just
Oh, good. Okay.
absorbing what you saw.
Yeah, yeah.
I
October
kind of jumped
21st.
on, and I have to jump off because I have to cook in a bit. So
Okay,
for
yeah,
a
yeah.
group.
You
So,
could
yeah.
jump up. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at the transits now, but yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, yeah, October 21st. That's the new moon date. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder what I don't know. We have that big old comet Atlas, whatever, coming in. Maybe that's the star seeds that are coming. So yeah, and then so we did that part. Now let's have a look at transits. Uh, here, let me move this over. Wait 1 second. I'm trying to
Still
move my
respond to
pen.
that, Ike,
Huh?
to your question. If I can still respond to your question,
Oh yeah.
I was looking at Jupiter,
Mm-hmm.
and I wondered what is Jupiter doing in Gemini, and I thought, oh, maybe this is like the opportunity to have expansive thought and learning about the whole process that you're describing,
Yeah, right. An
right? Like
open view. Yeah.
allowing you to have the expansion of the mind
You're right.
to go through the pain, even though it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult, but to understand what's the deeper meaning of it, what's the deeper
Mm-hmm.
teaching. Yeah,
Yeah, something. Yeah, Jupiter is in a good position in Gemini. It's
yeah.
allowing the other way to show. Yeah. So I mean, everything showed up in that report, but we can see. I was wondering what we got with this here. Hang on. The Uranus, the Uranus trine Pluto energy. That's the awakening and the restructuring and awakening, and that ends on the 28th. It already went exact, so by the end of the month there should be kind of a new way, a new like a hopefully a breakthrough. That would be nice. So we can ride that wave out for a while. Let's get the mouse. The mouse might be better here. Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. I mean, if you want to focus on the Venus when it was trining Pluto and Uranus, while this Uranus is trining Pluto, the grand trine. Yeah, that all is going down about between the 13th and the 15th. You see, Venus is doing its work, and this all goes exact. Yeah, between 13, 14. So expect that time to kind of feel super supportive with the with that matriarch energy, with that Venus energy, that Venus in Virgo is having good contact. The mystic square with Jupiter and Chiron kicks in on the 14th. So as this Venus is ending its exact orb, then we have the Jupiter square Chiron that kicks in and it goes through. It goes exact on the 23rd and goes through. That's that mystic square. So we want to kind of, that's something to pay attention to because that's going to expand. It's a square. Jupiter is going to share a lot of light on possibly the wounds, but it will also offer, like what you were saying, Frederica, the other way, the understanding. So that should kick up soon. Then Sun square Jupiter. That should add a little energy to that. It's another square, so to actually to Jupiter. So there's a solar energy involved with the square to Chiron. See the Jupiter square Chiron, Sun square Jupiter. So there's a solar activation around this time, the 15th, goes exact on the 17th. So just expect that square to start activating itself. And then the sun opposes Chiron. So we're looking at possibly it might be a T square, the beginning of the forming of the square. So that will be the good time to really utilize Jupiter seeing the two sides of the story, right about 15th through, let's say, 19th. Then Mars is hitting the nodes, taking action. So remember, Mars was like with the new moon will conjunct Mercury. And you can see it's hitting here too. So Mars and Mercury conjunct hitting the nodes. So this is possibly bringing out a lot of like reality information. Then Mars goes exact. Yeah. So yeah, like this is big activation between 15th and I would say the new moon 21st of like information, Mercury of finding the balance, finding the truth in it all. So that's that works. Sun square Pluto, that could be pretty intense. 23rd through the 26th, exact 24th. So a couple days of like kind of Sun Pluto activation, which if it's a square, it could be challenging to rebuild what you see needs to happen. But it could also be the final completion of ending something that's not serving. So that can show up. Mercury, Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, trine. I mean, that's just these that seems like logic, logic, and that's a good time when you're getting rid of things, or it's like, yeah, that makes sense, you know. So a lot of sensibility can kick up around after the new moon, so you can have like, okay, that's clear. That made a lot of sense. I didn't see that. Now I see it. And okay, now we got a bigger picture. And then Mars trines Jupiter, right? Is that what I see? Right about the 26th. It goes on. Let me see here. What is that? The 29th? Yeah, so up towards the end of the month. Is that right? Sometimes like yeah, okay. It's 27th. That was Mercury, Saturn, then Mars, Jupiter. Yeah, this is all like what reality, like what needs to happen. Um, and that's it. We wind it down with like a Mars energy. I saw one more thing, Pluto, Mercury, Pluto towards the end of the month, sextile. This is usually reveals the I think it's going to be hidden secret power of truth, the hidden secret power of truth. Because that Mercury, let me just double check, should still be in Libra with Mars. Yeah. Then it hits Pluto and Capricorn. So it's like clear as day at the end of the month. And then that's Halloween. So, you can celebrate the Day of the Dead, killing what's old and allowing yourself to be free. Cool. All right, so that's it, and then we'll do the full moon report at some point in November. Okay. See you guys. Bye. Bye.